left my dad's coat at a show. The sound man found it, don't you know? It took a while for me to get it back, but we stayed in touch and made each other laugh. And then we found a date that fit to meet up. We recorded it in a hotel. That's how the Blue Coat Diaries started. Hello, listeners of the Blue Coat Diaries podcast, and hello, Mark Carver, who's back from the dead.
Yeah, basically death. I think that's pretty much what happened to me. I think I had clown typhoid or something. It wasn't good.
You did not look good. You know what made me laugh? You sent me a clip of you to show me how badly you were doing. It was almost like I was your employer, which I'm not. It was like you were saying, I really am ill. Here's a picture of me looking really ill. And it was a video. It
was a bit of that. I was sat on the well, I don't think I was on the bathroom floor at that point. I think I was sat here, but like I just kept typing and just messing it up, and predictive text was just not having it, and it was just gibberish coming out. I was like, I can't be bothered, Johnny. I just videoed myself sweating and just I've not been that ill in so long, man.
Do you know in Lord of the Rings when there's like that king that's been like whispered to by
Theoden,
yeah, and he's all kind of like he's
by
gone like really old,
yeah.
And he's sort of frail, and he's got like, you know, he's all sort of like he looks like he could sort of break, you know, like fall to bit. You look like that.
Yeah.
Not
Thanks,
always,
mate.
But that and in that particular
arguable.
clip, I mean, in that clip,
yeah.
This
is yet another Lord of the Rings character that I look like.
Mark of the Rings.
There's a joke amongst some friends of mine online that because I'm a bit older than some of them, and there's this meme of Gandalf on the thing who Gandalf kind of exorcises the demons from him, and he throws back his robe. But there's a meme on a GIF meme, and it's the same thing happens, but Gandalf throws up, and it's just like he's nude apart from a pair of baggy Y fronts from behind. He throws back his cloak, and he's like that with the long hair and the beard, and that is the meme they use to take the mick out of me whenever I say something even remotely boomerish, and I just own it now. I'm like, I'm into that.
Well,
I'll throw the meme up on the video for YouTube.
Yeah, definitely put it up. Yeah. Put it here.
Yeah,
that's where it'll go.
That's where it'll go. In the box. We're never going to get that right with camera flips or whatever. You know, when people point to the little box and look at this video, never going to get it right, mate.
Now, you're looking good. You feeling okay today? Because we've got a good guest on.
Yeah, I feel okay. It's been one hell of a ride for the last couple of months, my dude. I've just been festival to festival to festival. Yeah. And it's, it's been a thing.
I feel very similar. We'll chat about Festival in a minute, which I've just literally come back from. Looking out of my window, I can see a tent that is being aired from coming back from Festival. But listen, we've got a brilliant guest today. We have Richard Franks on the show. He's a writer, a comedian. He does sketches online. He's super, super funny. So in a little while, he'll be on. And if you're listening and you're a Richard Franks fan, welcome to the podcast. Pull up a seat and we'll tell you a bit about it. I left my coat at a gig once. Mark found it, got in touch with me, and we got on really well. We ended up making a podcast, which is what you're listening to now. Now, we always kick off with a chat about where we've been. So I've just come back from Festival. Do you want me to start with that, or do you want to tell me where you've been?
Well, where did I go? I can't remember the last thing I told you about. I think I told you a bit about rock and blues, and I did something after that. I did Riverside Festival after that. That was good. That was a lot of world music.
Where were you? Where you came back destroyed? Which festival was that?
You see, that was Glowworm, and that's a slightly different festival that we've done for years. So I was doing the main stage at Glowworm, the front of House Sound, which is the miserable looking wizard in the middle of the field, pushing faders up and down. But Glowworm is a family/children's festival. So it's thousands of people, big stage, you know, but it's like lots of CBeebies presenters and stuff like that. And were some bands and tribute acts, and you know, we had Living Joy from the 90s. We had Mercury, which is like a Queen tribute. We had lots of stuff, but we had things like Basil Brush was there and not on stage, and this, that, and the other. So we've had over the years Blobby, Chuckle Brothers. We've had you name it,
royalty
children's TV royalty, and there's loads of breakouts, loads of other stages, and you know, so it is properly a thing. It's a thing. Andy and the Odd Socks, you know, and all this sort of stuff. So there's loads of these kids things, and it is bananas for me because I come from rock and roll land, and this is not rock and roll land for the most part.
I'm interested to see that festival was the one that you came back really ill from. Like, it, you know, you must have really gone for it with Basil Brush and stuff. You're really getting on it.
Yeah. I mean, we were just, you know, me and Basil, before he goes on, you know, he likes to sort of rack him up and, you know. Oh, no, he doesn't. That's a joke, Basil. He steers clear of the Bolivian nose coffee.
Did you say you were getting eaten by horseflies or something? Was that the same one?
I got bitten on the legs a lot by, I'm pretty sure, horseflies. My legs swelled up and they're very, very painful. That was nasty. Could have been the illness that I got from just transmitted by you know, parasites. Fox. Who knows? Yeah, fox. Lyme's disease now. No, but it's working, you know, 80 hours in a field, sleeping in a tent, and then just rinse, repeat day in, day out, and then de-rigging it, and then going back to a toddler for, well, he's not a toddler, whatever you call these small humans, for 3 or 4 days, and then just going straight back to it again. It's just that over and over and over again. So my immune system, and you eat crap because you don't get a break, really. You know, you do like a 12, 13, 14 hour day, and you can't go anywhere because you're the person who solves all the problems. So getting food, and it's just festival food. It's like, I've been handed some fatty carbohydrates again, and then you wolf it down, and it's just constant. There's no healthy eating. It's so hard to just eat properly. So you just get, after like a month or two, you just start getting run down. So
are you done though now? Have you finished all your festivals? Have you got any more?
There's one in a couple of weeks which I don't know if I'm doing it, but it's a little bit different, that one. It is more local. It's close to where Download is, and it's off the tracks. But I don't know if I'm doing that. We don't even know who's been booked for that, but I think I'll probably go to that anyway, because it's usually a meeting point for engineers and old, you know.
It feels like we're coming into the home straight of festivals for the summer. Surely that's going to be your last one, isn't it?
Yeah, there's going to be a run of like lots of touring shows and stuff in the run up to Christmas. So I'll probably be on that, but I've got some other stuff going on that I need to sort out before I can even figure out on how much of that I'm going to be doing. Glow One was fun. The crew were great. It was nice to hang out with them for, you know, an hour in the evening before.
What was the best thing you saw on the main stage when you were doing it for all that time?
There was some great things, but you know, when there's some sort of, we talk about backstage things that happen, or that perhaps the crew are only party to.
Yeah.
Well, you're familiar. You've had a radio mic before, haven't you? A little lapel one or something.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Well, a little headset. No.
Yeah.
I fully believe that this lady knew that it was on, but this is a conversation. So obviously, we're given pretty much 0 minutes to change over acts. It's not run like proper rock and roll festival with that kind of experience in programming. There's, you know, there are difficulties in it, and then we turn up and go, how are we going to do this? And you try and get everything on at once, and we manage.
Make it work.
But this was a promotional segment, and I think it's probably best if I don't say exactly who for, but it was a food company aimed at children, we'll say, and they had some mascots, sort of, you know, and they were doing the whole healthy eating thing. So they had some mascots of one fruit and another fruit, and So before we go on, I'm like got this headset, so I'm listening to them. They've got a solo button, so I can listen to a particular microphone or instrument or whatever, and listen to it on headphones without it coming out of the speakers. So I'm soloing this, and I'm listening to it, and I've got my colleague Adam at the other end, and he's sort of like, we're trying to figure out what's going on. And I'm like, Adam, listen to this, and all I can hear is this lady, right? She goes, well, where are they? What do you mean that they're being sick in a tent? And it somehow transpires that, look, I don't know what this mascot, we'll refer to him as Mascot X, them, they, I don't know gender, but Mascot X was it sounded very much like they were vomiting in a tent backstage. And I don't know whether they'd, had a few beers the night before, or whether there did seem to be an issue with heat, the temperature, and how often the mascot suit had been washed. So we just listened to like a 5-minute conversation of this poor human, and like just giving advice, go, just breathe through your mouth, just breathe through your mouth.
Were they supposed to be
when
a
was
piece
the
of
last
fruit?
time these things were washed? Yeah, I don't, mate. I couldn't possibly comment on exactly what they were, because I don't really want to shine a bad light on the brand. It was like a sponsor segment. So when these characters finally came on stage behind this woman who was doing all the talking, and they've got the people in the suits like this, you could see that one of them was visibly shook, except that they were a giant fruit with a massive smiling face and terrifying eyes on the front.
It was easy to spot which one, because it was the fruit that was green that was not supposed to be green. That's basically it.
Alan were just in tears, and a photograph was taken of like just this, terrifying, quivering visage behind the monitor engineer as he leaned out.
Well, I'd like to suggest Mascot X for the show title, because I think that's pretty awesome. Yeah,
shout out to Mascot X. You stayed in there, you hung in there, and big respects, because that must have been rough, my dude.
That is amazing. Thanks for sharing that with us, Mark. I've got a couple of bits to tell you about Festival. It was wild. I mean, I played it. So I played it on the Friday, which was great. First day when everything's kind of firing up, and they did the comedy at 12:30. I say hello to Tiernan, who books comedy for kids. That's a thing that he runs. It's brilliant. It's like a thing you could take Finn to, which is fine for him, but it is with proper comedians who do their material, but they just do a cleaned up version of it. So it's called Comedy for Kids, and we did that on the Friday. But I saw loads and loads of things because we stayed all weekend. And one thing I really wanted to tell you about was I went to see E17.
Yeah.
Now, E17, I think for legal reasons, were billed as E17 Christmas Special. That's what they were called in the guide. E17 Christmas Special. Now, I think that must be some sort of legal get around something thing to be able to use the name. I don't know how that works, but I'm pretty sure that's what they were called. That's what they were called.
When they'd done their gig, did they go straight home, or did they stay another day?
Well, it's funny you should say that, because they did finish with that song. But here's the thing. I'm stood there watching them, right? And they look really good to me. Like, they look great. And the frontman was singing brilliant vocal, really, really good. And I knew that it wasn't all of E17. I was well aware of that. But I think my friend who I was at the festival with said to me, there's only one of them left from E17 that is in this thing that we're watching. So I assumed that will be the guy that was fronting it, who was singing the songs.
Is that right? Brian Harvey, the fellow who drove over his own head?
No, it wasn't Brian. I think it's Terry. I think it's Terry that's left. Right. But I'm pretty sure there was just one of them left. But after watching a couple of songs, it sort of dawned on me that the front man of E17 Christmas Special, who was really good, like could really sing and was doing a great job. Sure. He wasn't one of the guys from E17. So then I realised that one of the other guys who was basically dancing, he was the one that was in E17. So it was like, it's quite a strange thing to get your head around, because it's like you're watching E17 and they're doing just E17 songs, but the guy who's fronting it was not in E17 and one of the dancers was. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, so it was like an E17 tribute with the bloke from E17 in it as a dancer. Is that
nailed it? You nailed it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Christmas special in August.
It was good. Like, they did all the hits and people were having a good old time in there.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing, which I was saying to you before we came on the pod. I'm going to tell you something that you won't believe. But Festival is a family festival. I don't know if you're aware of that, but it's like definitely the festival to take your kids to. I took my kids and my wife. We all went. And one of the acts that was booked for Festival, how inspired is this? Do you know who they had on the bill? Napalm Death.
You're sick. Yeah.
Napalm Death played the Big Top, which is where I did the kids' comedy.
Did you absolutely love it?
They were amazing. They were so loud, so heavy, and so unbelievably booked for the wrong festival, which made it brilliant.
Perfect,
it just made it absolutely brilliant. It was like everybody that was in that tent went, yes, let's go for this. This is mental. What is happening? Why are they even here? Kind of thing. So Napalm Death, and I just want to do a shout out to Festival and Rob the Bank who runs it, because it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. Awesome. One day, I hope you will take Finn. I reckon you'll have an amazing time.
It'd be nice. Yeah. It's just, that was someone else who was on at Glowworm, one of your former alumni.
Who?
Do you remember off of the? I think it was Britain's Got Talent. It was Stavros Flatley.
Oh yeah, he was one of the
his
early...
son. Do you remember his son? Was the tiny little one. Still, his son still dances with him. I mean, he's about 280 pounds. Guy covered in tattoos and has a bigger beard than me, but they still do it, and it was a little bit risque in a funny way. They were very funny. Yeah. So
did they do the river dance thing where they do it to that?
It was mostly good. They flew over from Cyprus for the.
Did they?
It was carnage, absolute carnage.
I love a sort of unusual thing at a fest.
Oh, there's loads of that sort of thing.
We need to crack on because we've got Richard coming on in a minute. So please, can we have the correspondence jingle, because we had some good stuff sent in. Yeah, that I need to tell you.
I'm out of touch, mate.
I'll tell you what we're doing.
I'm catching up.
London, Tokyo, and Penzance. We want your correspondence.
It just hits different, that jingle, doesn't it?
I mean, that's like an injection of excitement. Correspondence. People came back to us. We were talking about famous people, me and you, and we were chatting about...
We were? Okay, go on.
Actually, did I? No, sorry, hang on a minute.
It wasn't even me, was it? You didn't even notice.
It was Marcus.
You didn't even notice.
Me and Marcus.
Right.
Marcus pointed out that you've both got the same initials. That's why Johnny will only present with people that have got the initials of MC. Mark Carver, Marcus Carter. Yeah. Anyway, me and Marcus
any master of ceremonies.
Perfect. Helen went. Funnily enough, having just spoken about him, I was telling Marcus that Helen went to see E17 back in the day, right, when it was the original lineup, and she was sick, and God, all the callbacks to everything we've been talking about. She was sick, and they took her via the barrier, probably over the barrier, and sort of past where the band were or whatever. They accused her of pretending to be sick to get close to the band, whereas she actually was just sick, which I thought was really funny. So I was saying to Marcus, let's ask the listeners if they've ever sort of gone to any extra lengths, gone the extra mile to try and get close to their celebrity. So that's what's come in. So from Sarah Louise, she said, I got my parents to take me to visit Keele University in 1995. And on the way, I insisted on a visit to Robbie Williams' house in Stoke. We got to Keele and they didn't even do the course that I was supposed to be doing. So she basically just lied to her parents to get them to drive to Robbie Williams' house.
I mean, it's pretty creepy.
I asked her...
Not to call our listeners creepy, but upon reflection, they've got to admit.
I asked her...
Probably not okay.
I asked her if she met him. I asked her if Robbie was in, and she wrote... This is on the comments on Facebook. She wrote back and said he wasn't in.
He wasn't. It must have knocked.
All that for nothing. Well, You always ask for one more bit of information I haven't got. I was pleased with myself this week, so I made a note to tell you that I had asked and she said he wasn't in. But there was another step. I don't know how she knows.
Cars on. How about there wasn't a car on the driveway?
She couldn't hear someone singing "Angels" from the shower. Lisa Weaving was Jones. So I assume that Lisa Weaving was Jones. Used to be Lisa Jones, and now she's Lisa Weaving. But to let everyone know, she puts Lisa Weaving was Jones. I think that is really not the thing for this morning, is it? You were like, yeah.
Mate, I mean, that's what I was thinking, except somehow you confused me into wondering if I even knew what I was thinking.
Let's go for Lisa Weaving. She loves Matt Goss from Bros. About 18 and a half years ago, he was playing at Butlins in Minehead. Come on. Come on.
Imagine.
That's a gig, innit, huh?
Yeah.
Butlins Minehead, 18 and a half years
She
ago.
had the Grolsch bottled tops on her shoes and it, Doc Martens, wasn't it? Yeah.
Lisa had won a competition to go for the weekend. She saw him on a Saturday night, and in her haste to meet him and have a photo with him, she legged it from the venue. She fell over a chair and broke her digital camera. It was only a small one, not a DSLR. But luckily, I had an old film one with me, so I got the selfie. But to this day, my hubby thinks I was pushed. That sounds like, did he jump or was he pushed?
What, pushed by another super fan who was trying to get there first kind of thing?
I think so,
yeah.
like trying to get him out the race to get there.
Wow.
I ended up with the biggest bruise on my left arm. And Lisa is a super fan. She's posted the picture
Oh, bless.
on my Facebook. So hopefully you can grab that for the video, because it's a great picture of her with Matt Goss.
Yeah.
So
Link
thanks
me
for
that
that,
comment
Lisa.
or
That's a
send
really
it to
good
me.
one.
Send that to me on WhatsApp or something. I'll put it in there.
Getting injured to meet your celeb is, yes, that's a tick. You really have gone the extra mile if you're actually hurting yourself to do it.
Yeah, purposefully. Yeah.
Definitely. Amy Louise Sims said, I was dating my now husband quite early on, and he knew that I really loved Jack Whitehall. He took me to one of his gigs, and at the end of the night, while I was waiting for a cab, I noticed Jack coming out of the stage door. I literally ran and jumped a hedge to get a photo with him. How high is this hedge? What?
Yeah. I find it difficult to identify with some of these, because literally, if I was sort of like prone to that kind of thing of like, oh my God, that person's amazing, I've got to meet them, I've got to get a photo or something like that, I wouldn't be able to do the job. I literally wouldn't be able to do my job. I don't think. I feel super awkward, and I probably should more, but I very, very rarely ask for photos with people.
Is there anyone out there that you would jump a hedge for?
I don't think so, no.
Drew Barrymore?
Oh, mate. No, I don't think I would. Because, I mean, you might get noticed, but you'd also definitely look like a bit of a twat, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the best start to trying to woo someone jumping over a hedge.
No one's ever looked
in front of them. I mean,
that's the thing that blows my mind as well. It's like the whole, like the Beatlemania thing. No one's ever seen someone screaming, running towards them, throwing themselves over topiary and thought, oh, she's the one for me, or vice versa. It's not. That's never happened.
What was it that first drew you to your partner? Her scream.
blood curdling cry as she threw herself over some Hibernians or something, you know.
Oh, that's the thing you want.
Yeah.
Susan Murray, who often messages, she's a comedian who's great. Go and see her. Mm-hmm. Susan Murray. She went to Austin, Texas to see Wanda Sykes. She said, we share the same birthday, and I tried to send a note to her, but I was ignored. Charming.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you just get a note that says, happy birthday to us, written in biro, you start. You just make sure the windows are locked that night.
Yeah,
don't
be
you?
careful, Susan. The next step will be hedge hopping. Watch out.
These are all really sort of fun, innocent things, and here's me just like calling all our listeners stalkers.
Now, I went to Dorset a little while ago to see some great British countryside and do nothing. Do you remember that?
Did you do some light stalking?
No, but I did, while I was there, make a new jingle. Do you want to hear it?
Does it make poke fun at me in any way? I don't think. Oh no, I know what this is now.
Half-time jingle.
Oh
Put
yeah,
it on.
yeah,
It's the
yeah,
half-time
I know.
jingle.
Yeah, sick. Let's
Go on,
have
give
a
it a
listen.
go. Give it a whirl.
Let's fire it up.
Let the dancing begin.
Oh yeah.
It's about the middle of the podcast. About the middle of the podcast. And if you like it, you can help us out. It's so easy to help us out. Like and subscribe to our show. Like and subscribe to our show. If you listen carefully there, you'll hear some piano, because the house that we stayed in had a piano, and I was like, I'm totally making a jingle with that piano.
That's nice.
I was like, shh, everybody on holiday, I'm recording a podcast. So that's the jingle to say we're halfway through, but also to say, this is important. Please like and subscribe to the show. It's very important, Mark, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So when you're on YouTube, you click the like button and the subscribe button, and then you click the real subscribe button. You have to touch the bell. The forbidden sentence. Just click on that, and then that's the real subscribe button.
If you really want to help us out, give the podcast a 5-star review on whatever platform you listen to.
TripAdvisor.
And just write something lovely about it and give it a 5-star review. Don't confuse them, Mark, with TripAdvisor. Here's me trying to build the pod, and you're taking it the wrong way. We don't want to we don't want people saying that the bath wasn't clean.
Someone booked a room on TripAdvisor recently, and they had like 1 4-star review or something. Oh no, it was a garage to get something done, and it said, and it was 1 5-star review, and it said no, there's 1 4-star review. Everything else was 5 stars. Then 1 4-star review just said satisfactory. Just like, why have you?
That reminds me of
I'd like to see one that says satisfactory on our podcast.
My wife's dad, my father-in-law, has got a Indian takeaway menu, curry menu, and they try different things, and he just puts little notes next to things they've tried.
Just from the same restaurant?
Just like that.
He's trying to complete 100% an Indian takeaway, which I respect. 100% completion on an Indian takeaway, I think, is...
I don't know if they try and have every single thing, but it's more, I think, so they come back to it and they remember what they thought of it,
right,
2 months later or whatever. But it is literally like you've just said, it would just say decent or something like that.
Satisfactory. But that's the thing. Do you have that with takeaways? Now I miss takeaways because there's only about 2 or 3 places that will actually deliver out where I am, so I very rarely have them. But there are ones I know, for example, there's one in Derby that will deliver here, and it does an amazing Desi lamb curry on the bone, lamb on the bone broth, and it's so good. But their naan breads, sorry guys, they're shit. That's a shit naan bread you got there. So
there goes the sponsorship.
Yeah, there goes the sponsorship, mate. But I could not endorse a place that just doesn't take care of the naan the way it should. But the Desi lamb
take care of your naan.
Banging. Yeah, take care of your naan. If you learn anything from this, take care of your naan. But
that's another contender for the title.
So it's kind of like, Fantasy League takeaways where, you'd have the naan from that restaurant, and the thing is sometimes you forget and you make a mistake.
That's good. That is a great idea, Fantasy League takeaways. Yeah,
and then you remember, the Rogan Josh from that place is just all onion, and then that's it.
Do you get points for the star ratings that they received that year? Is that how it works? Like Fantasy League football, when someone scores a goal, you get points.
Yeah.
So if you've got Onion Bargy from this place, no one from this.
Soggy.
I think we're onto something here.
Yeah.
Now listen, before we go any further, I want to tell you one more thing from Bestival, which is true but sounds untrue. Here it goes.
Okay, hit me.
And this is going to be the question for this week off the back of this.
Right.
So one of the things on the main stage at Bestival this year was this: Mr. Maker and the Utah Saints.
Well, I was like, we had Mr. Maker.
We have Mr. Maker.
Didn't have
the Utah Saints. I can't even say it. I'm so excited.
Utah Saints are a basketball team.
No, Utah Saints is like 90s kind of DJs, did their own tracks and stuff as well. But like
Was it like garage
dance
stuff?
music.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
No, not really garage. No, 90s.
Right.
So they were great. You know, it was a great collab, and that is my question for this week. I loved that idea, Mr. Maker and the Utah Saints, and it's an unusual but brilliant collab.
How does that? Does it gel?
He was basically performing with them.
Right. Okay. Yeah. We had
So
Mr.
what I wanna
Maker. He was
know
on
is-
for ages.
What I want to know is, who would you like to see on a main stage at a festival
With Mr.
doing
Maker?
a collab?
Because
No, not
our
with Mr. Maker. It can
collab was
be.
Basil
It
Brush
can
and
be.
Mr. Maker.
Was it?
Yeah. Boom,
Did he
boom.
really do that?
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
No, so that was it. We can't do the rest of the lyrics to that song because I remember buying the CD in Woolworths and it's not appropriate. And B, no, just still no.
All right. Well, look, you're
Where were
allowed
we?
to have Mr. Maker. You're allowed to have Mr. Maker, but really, I want you to come up with your own. I want you to think which two things, am I going to put together to smash it up?
Have I ruined this
Do you know what I
week's
mean?
question with ADHD, just completely confusing everything and everybody?
No, but you'll like this. You'll
Right.
like this. My mate.
Unlikely
that was at
collabs, is that where we're at? Or ones that you
unlikely
want?
collabs.
Yeah, okay, unlikely
or
collabs.
ones you really want to see. Really,
Okay.
and get
Dream
them into the
collab
Johnny Awesome.
and... Yeah, okay, yeah.
Get them into the Johnny Awesome socials and the BCD Pod socials. My mate that I was at the festival with, who's a very funny guy. Shout out to my friend Foggy. Foggy said, after we'd seen Mr. Maker and Utah Saints doing their mashup, he said that Mr. Tumble was doing something with Mumford and Sons later, and they were called Tumble and Sons. So there you go. Starter for 10, Tumble and Sons. In fact, if you could put a name in there as well that they call their mashup, then that would be extra point. You'll definitely get a good chance of being read out if you do that. So who is your Tumble and Sons? Which unlikely collab do you want to see on a main stage? And tell us why. Now, it's time for the WD41 jingle. I'm not going to try and sing along to it because my voice is totally wrecked from the festival and it's really high. So I'll just let you play it, Mark.
Okay.
I'll let you play it.
Shall I just push this
Go
button,
for
yeah?
Yeah, hit it.
He's a robot droid, and you'll miss him when he's gone. He's WD41.
There you go, I did a bit for you.
Very, very good. WD41 in the house, I hope, because he was off with a cold as well when you were off. So, is he there?
Well, he had some... He needed to go in for defragmentation. Do you remember that when you used to have to defrag your hard drives? Unfortunately, I did have to use some fairly antiquated technology in his construction, so he had to go in for a defrag. And
Defrag.
You know when you take a dog to the vets and it then no longer trusts you and you've betrayed it?
Okay, he's not happy with you.
I don't think he's happy. Well, I don't think he's ever been happy with anyone.
I was just thinking what a great rapper name Defrag is.
Yeah.
Like, like Ice Cube or like, J-Dog or something. I think I might, if I start rapping, I might call myself Defrag.
J-Dog is actually what the old lead singer, we jokingly refer to the old lead singer of my band as J-Dog.
That's what my agent calls me. Like, he never ever uses
he
my
really?
name.
He calls you
just me
J-Dog?
J-Dog. Yeah, if you rang me up, he'd say it. If he sent me an email, he'd put it on it. And I sometimes think, I hope you're not using that with other people out in the industry because they wouldn't know who I am.
J-Dog looks
but he
like
calls me J-Dog. Yeah.
Our J-Dog looks like a geography teacher who has killed and will kill again. So it kind of adds to the mystique. It's good.
All right, now
should we say hello?
Let's
to
make
him?
sure he's working. Let's make sure he's working.
WD, you're right. Are you talking to me again yet?
Sounds well angry, mate.
I've cut him off. It's not really broadcastable.
Don't even
I'm hoping
say it.
that
I can tell that was full of swear words.
Absolute filth. That's straight off of YouTube. That. Hopefully, when we introduce him to Richard, he'll, it's a clean slate, isn't it? It's a clean slate.
Is Richard in the lobby, by the way?
He is in the lobby.
All right. Well, look, I'm going to do an intro to him.
Right.
It's always awkward doing the intro when the guest is already in the room. So I'm going to do an intro, then you're going to try and bring him in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By clicking the button that says "bring him in." Yeah.
I wrote this morning, having just got back from Festival, so I apologise now before I read it out.
It's going to be sick, mate. I believe in you. You've got this.
What I will say before I read this out is, Richard's absolutely brilliant. because I've seen him live and I've watched his stuff online, and both things are quality. So you have no worries here. The guest is great. But here's my intro. Today's guest is a comedian, a maker of comedy sketches and characters. I first saw this guest, I was going to say his name, but I was saving it to the end. I first saw him in a comedy version of The Three Musketeers in Edinburgh, which was hilarious. Since then, he's become an online sensation, smashing it all over the place on places like TikTok, with his brilliant and hilarious characters such as Mum, David! That's me doing a bit of what he does. Please welcome to the show, to be interviewed by our droid, a guest that is far too good for this podcast. It's Richard Franks, if Mark can get him on the podcast.
Hey, there he is. Hello there, Richard. How are you?
This is all I'm very impressed with all of this. This is cool.
Don't be.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, don't come in with high standards. Just drop them down now.
I did build a rudimentary online studio previously, and that's how I used to do it, and that was very much less impressive. This one we kind of pay for. So
really? So
we can't really take credit for it.
Well, you can see where the money goes, guys. Do you know what I mean? It's this is great. Thanks for having me. Hello.
Oh, you're welcome. Do we need to turn Richard's mic down a little bit there? What do you think, Mark? Should we take it down a little notch?
Maybe just down a little
It's
notch.
slightly distorting because we want silky tones. We want his silky tones.
That's
I
nice
can
when you
boost
arrive
this in
somewhere
post.
and people go, "Oh, turn him down. Just take him straight down." Or all of that. That's a bit much. That's
We're good, I think. We'll
Richard, when you were in the lobby, was the show piping through to the lobby? Could you hear what I was saying, or were you just in the lobby?
No,
I just gave you an amazing introduction.
Oh, did you?
I just gave you a wonderful introduction, which ended with me saying that you were too good for the podcast. So that's how we brought you on to it. So
thank God it's out there, right?
Yeah, you were a bit too famous for us. But
don't be daft.
Welcome to the podcast. It's lovely to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
I was just telling Mark the first time I met you and saw you was in Edinburgh when you did that show, The Three-Hander, The Three Musketeers, and you very much had the kind of the comedy role of that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That was that was my slapstick comedy trio days. That was, we used to do some really excellent like physical comedy, sort of old meets new, there was a lot of nostalgia. There was some like Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin stuff, and then sort of like Rick Mayall, Aid Edmondson. We used to, I think, was it that show where we got the fake fire extinguisher and we used to hide it at every venue we went to by a fire exit, and then throughout the show at some point one of us would just grab the fire extinguisher and just go and wallop the other one, and the gasp from the audience was just always like health and safety.
My kids
until there's actually a fire and someone picks it up and failed to put it out.
One venue did say that. They were like, "We are concerned that there is a bit of confusion. Someone's trying to throw this bit of polystyrene at a fire, fire."
Polystyrene, perfect.
Smelts. Throwing one of those buckets of tinsels that clowns have over an actual fire.
It literally would have been
going up in.
I'm surprised we never did that, actually. Tinsel in a bucket, that's great, that. See, that's why. Comedy genius, Johnny.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
It was a great show. And my kids still watch that DVD. Like we got a DVD at the end of it, and they still watch it. I mean, they've started to watch your new stuff as well. Obviously you've moved on since then, but it stood the test of time, is what I'm saying. It's still very funny.
That's really lovely to hear. Well, I think that's why we used to get kids and adults and grandparents alike in those shows, because I think it was just there was a little bit of something for everyone. But it's sort of physical comedy. It's timeless.
Really, really
just how you frame it.
We've got someone that we want you to meet. It's our droid. He's called WD41. He's a bit camera shy, so he never comes on the camera, but you will be able to hear him. So, Mark, do you want to do the introductions?
Very excited.
Well, yeah, this is WD41. So the way it works is Johnny asked me to build an android.
Right.
And gave me about 48 hours to do it.
Oh, that's nice. That's good.
Yeah. Hence probably why he's not much of a looker. But he is an amalgam of AI and what I had lying around in this mess behind me. So the questions he's asking genuinely are randomly generated by an AI called WD41. So
brilliant name. Yeah.
He's he might go a bit off-piste. He might have just throw some weird stuff in there. He can be a bit rude, but to be honest, mostly he's a bit pissed off with me, and he's never liked Johnny. So
Oh well, that's
yeah. So I think you should be all right. You should be flavour of the month.
Well, let's find out. I'm very excited.
I'll just introduce him. And WD41, do you want to say hello? Oh, he says hello. He says, "Thank God I don't have to talk to this pair of idiots anymore." Yeah. So, right. Should we start with some questions?
Let's have a question. Let's do it.
Right. Get him to make a question.
Right, okay. WD41, have you got a question?
Okay, here we go.
There we go. Okay. So obviously he does speak English. I'll translate.
Please, yeah.
They say that behind every great comedian is an even greater collection of embarrassing childhood stories. Have you got one that still makes you cringe and chuckle simultaneously?
Oh, embarrassing childhood stories. Do you know what? There's I remember my older sister was once doing a school production of Bugsy Malone, right? And so she's 4 years older than me. And this must have been, I think this was like her leaving primary school, sort of year 6, kind of like, you know. And I remember watching her rehearsing at home, but at the actual show on the night, when she was doing her bit, she was doing the Tallulah song or something. I can't remember. This is going back years. And I jumped up and ran up on stage beside her and began doing the show. There was like this like little shoulders, like wavy shoulders motion, and I ran up and did it. And like, obviously, because of my sister being that age, like, she was mortified that her little brother had just stolen, you know, just come up and couldn't let her have this moment. But the performer in me, and like, I'd seen her rehearse at home, you know, in the living room, and I look back now and I think, oh, Richard, that is just, you know, that to this day, stealing the Bugsy Malone, like that was. It was that song. I'm going to murder it now. Is that my name is Tallulah? You know that?
Still got it.
I've still I've been practicing.
Upon reflection, somewhat inconsiderate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. That's terrible. I mean, that's the first one that springs to mind. Like that makes me go. Oh,
how did that go down? That's what I want to know. How did the audience react to that happening? I bet they loved it.
Parents
probably thought it was hilarious.
Loved me. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like, you know, obviously, I think it was a mixture of parents loved it. Teachers weren't sure, like, is this, you know, like, what have we got? You know, is this a health and safety thing? Who's the kid? You know, where is parents? You know, and my sister just, you know, carrying on, but looking at me with just fire, like fire in her eyes, like thinking, wait until we're home and it's gonna be World War III. You know, I feel a bit hot just talking about that, and I'm like, I really ruined that for her. You know,
has she forgiven you?
Do you know what? Like, it's one of those things that every time we have a family gathering, it always comes up, like the time Richard stole her. So do you know what? I'm going to say no. I don't think she has. I think it's genuinely, it's up there.
You know, the grave. Yeah.
When you do your tour, Richard, what you should do is you should get her to come to one of the dates, right?
Yes.
And then you should tell that story early on in the show, and then at the end you should be doing a song, and she should come up and steal your thunder.
She should actually be able to come up. Yeah. And then maybe we'll write
push you out of the way.
Balance the sketch. Just full on push me. Yeah. Do you know what? I think you're onto something.
Well,
I think that's
the only
good.
way that's going to work, because if it's premeditated, it doesn't work, does it?
That's true.
She has to have a carte blanche to at any point come up and interrupt it, because then you're going to be in perpetual panic the whole time.
Yeah, these are the dates. Just turn up at one of them. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Let's do it.
I thought you meant more like as in forever, as in like collecting a BAFTA or something. She comes up at that moment.
Between now and the end of my career, she's just at some point. She's just gonna be. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's my birthday
like
present. Just send it in a card, like a little carte blanche. That'd be good.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah. I'll pitch it to her.
Yeah, do it. Like when people like make a cheap present for Valentine's Day, when they say,
I'm familiar,
I can get you a massage or something like that, or this is me doing the washing up or something like that. Why did you look so disgusted then? If that was from one person to their partner, that would be a nice thing, wouldn't it?
I mean, well, I think about that. Someone once, I believe, bought me a voucher for a massage, knowing that I would like nothing less than to have another person touch me for free.
I meant the partner.
Oh, right, I see. Not like a voucher.
Yeah, like a Valentine's Day when someone makes and they give it to their partners and they say, this one gets you like me cooking you a meal or whatever.
When they haven't got out to the shops and bought something, you know, like it's a quick written in a bit of paper, you know.
Yeah.
Do you not like massage the tour, Mark? Are you one of those sort of like vulnerable people that's just like
vulnerable
don't
is
touch
interesting.
me. Or you don't like making yourself vulnerable, I should say.
Well,
you're not
possibly.
a vulnerable person.
No, I'm not. I think for me, it's the thought of I would never pay a stranger to touch me. Like I just don't. I just think that would make me uncomfortable.
Sure, I should have been more specific. At least it would be a qualified professional, not just who, not running around town. Who will rub me? Like
listen. Not saying that they're not professional. Hang on, we probably don't want to go down this route.
No, it's a slippery slope.
Let's have another question.
Yeah, it won't have a happy ending. Yeah.
Go back to the droid. Quick, let's move on. Go back to the.
Mark
let's
got
get some
it.
questions. Come on.
Could I have a sad ending, please?
Always. Quick, get the
dog
droid on.
dies. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to get rid of the sad ending. Creating humour often involves observing life's quirks. What are some of your favourite topics to joke about, and why do they resonate with you?
Oh, favourite topics to joke about, and why do they resonate with me? I mean, I love people watching. Like a lot of my stuff that I do now, like I do a lot of videos, online comedy sketches, and so much of it just comes from people watching and just real behaviour. Like there's nothing better than when you're out and about, and you just see somebody that is animated enough and funny enough, and you look at them and you think, oh, you don't realise that you are a fully formed sitcom character, you know. And I in my head I'm already thinking, oh, I could do that voice, or I could have a go at their physicality, or I could have a go at, you know, and I get really excited when you meet somebody and you just think, oh, you have no idea how much material I've just got off of you. And I think, so obviously I do this mum character, and that's all about like watching behaviour and replicating sort of mannerisms, and a sort of the sort of tone of voice. And I think that's, for me, my topics are like, I like to keep it as real as possible and human behaviour. I like people to see a bit of themselves, or you know, they'll nudge their partner and say, that's you, that is. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. I guess for me, that resonates, you know, with me kind of thing. People watching.
Did you ever see, with the mum character, was there like, did you see someone who started that off?
So mum character, she's a mixture of a few different mums that I have seen over the years. There's definitely a few of my relatives in there. Like, I'm not going to start being specific because I don't want to, you know, but because I don't know how they'll take it. But there's definitely like, there's a lot of that, and then a lot of what mum revolves around, which I really love. It's just what mum says, what you often see a lot of parents thinking but don't say. That's the difference, is that I feel like she voices the thoughts that you couldn't quite say in public, otherwise you'd get judgy stares. You know, but she will that, and I think that's where she comes into her own, is she will say that you're at your wit's end, and then she'll go there and hit you with some mum sarcasm, you know, which is, there's no sarcasm like the sarcasm of a mother at her wit's end, I don't think. So you know,
it's
you know,
it's a thing.
It is, isn't it? It's like a whole skill set.
Yeah. Well, I think I told this story once before, but when I was much younger, I climbed a set of bookshelves in order to get to a box of Ferrero Rocher, which was at the top. Of course, the whole thing came down. I probably could have died. Kids get crushed by bookcases all the time. They only popped out to go to the shops in the village. It was about 3 or 4 miles away. And they came back and just found carnage. And I tried to defend myself, and I started the sentence, I thought, and my mum just stepped in and went, you thought you farted, but you shit yourself, didn't you? And that was it. It was just like brutal. I was like, I'm done. I'm out for the count, done. That was somewhere around 1989, and I've never recovered.
I never recovered. Yeah, absolutely.
Never recovered. Yeah.
It's,
that's stuck in my head for 30-something years, yeah.
It's excellent. That's brilliant. I remember, like, my mum, they had to stop taking when I was really little. Like, we're sort of talking age of when, you know, you put a child, like the reins, you know, you hold like when you're walking. I feel like I'm not selling this product well, but like when you put a child
but it's
on
like
reins,
a dog lead for a child.
And I used to, like, they used to put me on that, and I used to go limp, like I used to just hang, you know, and they used to have to drag me around like Tesco's and things. And then one day they thought, oh, maybe he'll walk, you know, we'll release him. And I, you know, bolted and I used to climb the shelves. They said years ago, this is a Tesco in High Wycombe in Bucks, and they were like, apparently I went for the fire exit and set the sprinklers off, you know, and they had to literally, and they had to stop taking me. And my mum, you know, like, she just, bless her, she was always at her wit's end.
It's like, he's either going onto the stage to perform with someone else, or he's running for the nearest fire. There's definitely a thing. I think you need to stay in the. You need the reins these days, or have you?
I definitely do.
Have you toned it down?
No. I've definitely got. Yeah, I'm certain I've got undiagnosed ADHD. I don't stop, bounce off the walls. I'll have to. I'm convinced. Oh really? Are you?
Oh yeah. I mean, they don't care about diagnosing 42 of a bit. Yeah, 100%, dude.
Well, this is it. I said to my partner Penny, I was like, oh, do you think I should try and get a diagnosis? And she was like, well, yeah, but at this point, what's going to be different for you? You know what I mean? She's like, you are how you are. I don't know if it's worth pursuing. I don't even know how you go about starting to get that sort of
3-year waiting list, dude.
Is it? You see, by that, that's, you know.
I mean, the irony of trying to get someone with ADHD to adhere to
wait
process for 3 years.
Wait patiently for 3 years. Yeah, absolutely. I'll have found 10 other projects by then, you know. Like, yeah.
By
I think
design.
it's a test.
Yeah.
I think it's a test to find you out.
Yeah, maybe if you
can wait 3 years to be seen, they go, you ain't.
Yeah, you don't need it. Yeah.
Lose. It's like witch dunking, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think
exactly that.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. No, just I'm just a very bounce off the walls.
You're perfect as you are, Richard. It's obviously working for you, so do not fret, my friend.
Oh, thank you very much.
Fret.
Very kind, Johnny.
Can we have another question, WD?
Oh yeah.
Let's go. Let's see what else. Oh, he says, could you walk us through your creative process? And how do you come up with your material, refine it, and decide what makes the final cut for your performances? Sorry, I've got to look over there every time he talks, because otherwise, you know, I've got to read his eyes.
You've got to look at him. That's it. Yeah, it'd be rude to not look at him. Yeah. Okay, so
just to jump in there, we've talked about the people watching thing, but the thing I would be really interested to hear about is like your process of making stuff for when it ends up as like one of these clips that does really well online.
Yeah.
So like, you know, once you've got the idea and you've done your people watching or whatever, so take us through like the making of it.
Okay, so basically, so let's say I've done my people watching. It's all gone in the notebook. You know, there's always a notebook in my bag, and then always bullet points. And then so I'll sit down with the notebook, and let's take the mum character, and I will start. Honestly, I will sit there, usually sometimes in front of a mirror, but not always, and I will start and I'll do the voice and I will talk and I will start just chatting and I will see what things come out and just suddenly sound funny. So there'll be like 1 in 5 lines that I go, oh, that's a really good line, and then that will make it into the sort of final script. But I literally just stand here in my living room and effectively just get it on its feet and just chat. Like sometimes my girlfriend will come home mid rehearsal, me on my own, and it is the maddest. It's the most peculiar thing to walk in on. And I feel quite invaded as well when I'm like, excuse me, like this is just me and private moment between me and mum.
Do you stay in character when you?
Yeah, what time do you call that?
Character?
Yeah, seriously, yeah. And coming home all hours, yeah. I think, but yeah, and then from then I'll type it up on Word like a skit, and then I'll start filming it. So if I've got help, obviously someone will film me, or otherwise it's just me, a tripod and a ring light, and I'll film way too much stuff. It's always so hard to get it down to 60 seconds, which is what I try to aim for with an online video, because with the scrolling culture now, if your videos if they're too long or if they're not snappy enough at the beginning, you just lose people. It's a whole new skill to sort of learn, and then I'll film loads of stuff, and I'll have to somehow just edit it down to 60 seconds. But yeah, there's like, I always try and go on.
When you edit a clip down to 60, how much stuff do you reckon you're looking at? Like if you filmed a new bit, like let's say for example, Mum at a festival.
Yes.
How much stuff are you putting onto your?
Yeah.
What is it? Do you do it on a laptop?
Yeah, on laptop.
Or something,
yeah.
Or?
So we filmed for like 4 hours at that festival for that.
Wow.
For like like on and off, like maybe not a full 4 hours footage, but we were filming because you always allow for things. You look back and you're like, oh, that didn't quite read as well as it like. That was really funny in my head, not in sort of actuality. Yeah, I think yeah, you just have to allow. It's nice to have the choices. I always say give myself as many options as possible. But yeah, so it's tons of stuff, and you never know when you might come back to clips or something, or use them again for like a compilation video or something later on,
Yeah.
But no,
It's
it's always so horrible when there's like things that I really love, and you have to kill something off that you like, and sacrifice for the greater good, or for the
Yeah,
time
I guess
allowed.
it's a good problem to have, but at the same time, it is sort of frustrating because you know it's there and you can't put it in. Yeah,
I mean,
really
being
is.
brutal has to be part of it, because I'm aware, just even from doing this and editing other videos, it's you, because it's not just, oh, I've got 4 hours, I'll watch through that 4 hours, and then you're watching parts of it multiple times, and before you know it, you're doing 10 hours of just watch through before you even selecting something to actually work on.
Absolutely,
you've got to be really careful not to go down a rabbit hole and kind of go with first instinct. Otherwise, you just
definitely
that's it, game over.
Yeah,
2
and
days later.
a really easy trap to fall into as well is something that's funny the first time you watch it, and then you saying obviously you do watching, and by the 5th time you've watched it, you start to go, "Oh, that's not funny." But then you have to remind yourself, you're like, "No, but this is the 10th time I've watched that." Like it was funny. So sometimes I need to get, well, it's usually my partner, because bless her, she will just willing volunteer. Well, not a willing volunteer. I just always make her watch everything, and she has to sort of remind me. She's like, "No, that's a giggle, or that's funny, that's worth keeping." So yeah, but it can be brutal, the editing process with all that, But
I'm amazed you got 4 hours to draw through that. That must be.
It's when you're at an event, like some videos I just film at home, which is fine. I'm not too fussed, because if I ever find I'm missing something, I can just quickly refilm it. But obviously, we went to Latitude Festival and was filming there, and I was like, well, I can't come back if I haven't. When I leave here, if I haven't got it, I haven't got it. So that was probably the biggest amount of filming we've ever done.
Yeah.
Did you get recognised when you were
recording.
going around? When you were doing the Latitude stuff, were you getting recognised by people?
Yeah, it was really bizarre. So that festival was the first time I was properly out and about in public as Mum. Like usually I've done it in like controlled locations where 1 or 2 people might walk past, but that was just me fully out in a field, with people around. And so Mum's accumulated a couple of catchphrases. So there would be people coming up behind me going, "Oh, Tracy's going to be livid," and I'll be like, "Oh, hello, you're right," or screaming the name David at me. It was a really peculiar thing. Like, but no, it's great. It's nice because you're like, oh, these people are real. They're not just an online audience. They exist and they're here. Like this is really reassuring.
Apart from unless it sort of spoils a really good take.
Yeah.
You're in the middle of a perfect
that's
take,
it.
and then someone just shouts, "David!"
and people want to get involved. David. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's yeah.
Is it a bit like the opposite of being in disguise? Do you find that like you go out and then you put the wig on and then suddenly people recognise you and just come at you? Is that,
honestly,
is that how it is?
It's exactly like that. So the best example of that was we recently did a video at Thorpe Park. We did the first couple of hours and I was as Mum, and I got stopped quite a lot. People photos and stuff. Finished it all, went got changed and spent the rest of the day in Thorpe Park invisible. Like nobody cares about Richard. Yeah.
Surely that's perfect.
Do you know what? It's quite good. You kind of get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
It's a funny. It's a funny.
That's
experiment,
brilliant. I love that.
Brilliant.
And you're taking it. You're going to take it live, right?
Yeah.
Like people are going to be able to come and see you do. Like, let's plug that now.
Absolutely.
So when does that? When do those dates start?
So work in progress is this year. So I'm doing 5 dates in London, but they have sold out. But there is still a date in Manchester at the Frog and Bucket on the 22nd of November, which you can still buy tickets for, which is really exciting. There may be a couple more dates being released soon, but as I say, the work in progress is of this year. But obviously you can on my social media, Richard Franks Comedy on Instagram, Facebook and all of them, I'm always announcing, like, you can keep up to date with all the dates, but yeah, work in progress is this year, and then we're booking a tour for next year. So if you can't get tickets obviously for these warm-up shows, then obviously next year we'll be really going for it, going whole hog and
brilliant,
touring.
I think people will love it because I think they're going to come along and they're going to get more than they usually get. Well, right? I think you haven't got to keep it down to a minute.
But this is the thing, and it's a real. These work in progresses especially are such an experiment for me because obviously there's a lot of stuff that works online that people like, and I'm like, right, how do I get that on stage? How do I make that live? Obviously, like you said, it's not 60 seconds anymore. And obviously, I've started getting. Mum speaks to the camera a little bit more now, but of course, usually she's talking off, out of shot to family members, screaming at imaginary kids and stuff. So, of course, it will be Mum's on stage speaking to an audience, and I'm so excited. Like, it's going to be really good fun, but a real proper experiment as well. It's going to keep me on my toes, which is good. Don't get comfortable.
I think it will work great, man. I think it will work great. I mean, like if you just done online stuff, I think I could imagine someone being a bit more nervous about taking it out there, but you've kind of done it the other way around. You've done so much live stuff, and then you've ended up doing this.
And I think for me it was important. I was like, no, I want to get back on stage because I could easily just rest on the videos, but there's just that bit of me that can't do it. It's been I'm desperate to get back on stage. We're just armed with all this new stuff now that's been on the internet, and let's just drag it out on stage and see what works. Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, man, it's going to be great. I've got a feeling. I think it's going to do really well, and that people will be so excited to see those characters in front of them. It'll be kind of a moment for them.
It's exciting. Thank you. Yeah, no, it's an exciting time. Yeah. So
should we have one more WD before we let Richard go?
Yeah, let's have a question.
Just noticed the time. Crikey.
Yeah, I know. We've gone through it.
And
right.
It's live, yeah.
WD, let's have one more question for Richard.
Oh.
Okay. That's interesting.
I love Mark's reactions every time there's a question. Okay. All right, then.
All right.
Well, let me see. All right. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I mean, some might call it a stalling tactic. I don't know what he's talking about. But he said, if aliens landed on Earth and demanded... He goes off piste.
Okay, yeah.
If aliens landed on Earth and demanded to hear your funniest joke as a form of intergalactic diplomacy, what kind of joke or skit would you do to ensure the survival of humanity?
So I've got to tell a joke for intergalactic
it could be a skit.
Diplomacy.
Yeah.
To secure the future of humanity.
Yes.
No pressure.
Oh my God.
No pressure.
So what?
Yeah. Just improv, yeah.
So hang on a minute. So I mean, so what? Like just let's have a think. No, see, but what's their bag? Where are these aliens from? Are they sentient? I mean, are they like
I don't know. They don't really. Hang on.
Didn't specify.
He doesn't have that information. Yeah.
He doesn't.
He just doesn't.
Okay, no.
That's pretty cold from WD.
But thanks for checking, Mark. Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Don't worry,
I appreciate it. I heard a joke the other day. Hang on. So, I mean, if I can't nip to the boot of my car and get Mum out and put her on, which sounds more sinister than it is.
Say you can't. Yeah.
Well, but you see, I'm just not sure if they'll get that traditional British sort of.
I do quite like the idea of the whole of the human race resting in the hands of Mum,
and also
angry.
What I love as well is, imagine in my head as well, it's kind of like it's all televised, and there's like this commentary, and they're saying, and now the fate of the human race rests with Richard Franks, and he's getting something out of his bag. It's a wig. Oh, we're all fucked. Just a wig and a dress, and going, I've got this. It's fine. We're gonna be fine. 20 minutes later, we've been nuked. I don't know. I mean, Mum might be able to sort it out. I mean, I hope so. I mean, but a joke. If you wanted, like, what's the one like? I'm trying to think. What's the cheesiest joke I know? What's like the because I think I don't think there is a joke that can save humanity. So I think if I'm going to go down, let's go down in a blaze of glory. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think. Unless you disagree, do you think would you have the perfect joke up your sleeve to go?
I think
boom.
If you had a joke that was like to do with aliens or UFOs or something, that could be a good icebreaker with them.
Yeah.
So, like, what about like
like when people go, when people say like, oh, what is it when you're flying on a plane, and someone brings a baby on, blah blah blah, like things that people can click with. You need one of those, but about the alien UFO.
I can only think of one alien joke.
Go on.
And,
this is to save humanity.
This is like literally for a playground joke. What would you call an alien with 3 balls? And it's ET, and you can figure out the rest of it. That's the only alien joke I can possibly think of.
Jonny, you can see the acknowledgement when the penny drops.
There was a little wheel above his head going around for a bit. Yeah. He's buffering.
Yeah. I saw a Spanish magician do a trick the other day. He went uno dos and disappeared without a trace.
That's good. That is good.
Now, I mean, it's good, but would it save us? Like, would it save humanity?
That reminds me of one. I think Tapeface told me this. It's really good. It says to me like, "How do you kill the circus? Go straight for the juggler."
Straight for the juggler. Yeah, that's good.
That is a good one. That's a very good one.
I can't remember exactly how you tell it, but it's something like that.
Well, I think it's safe to say, guys, that we're all dead. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's great.
Yeah,
but we're dead. We're dead. Yeah.
I mean, if I was picking teams for this, with the greatest respect to both of you, I think we're probably on the B team rather than the top tier front line.
We're not humanity's first defence, no.
The last guest I interviewed is going to come in and save us with Tina Turner, I believe. Isn't that right, Jonny? It's a call back to a previous interview.
Yeah, we had Kezia Gill on, who's a country star.
Oh, yeah.
And we asked, how did that come up with
I
Tina Turner?
don't know.
Thing?
I think WD41 is just obsessed with different alien assault scenarios. Last time it was an alien invasion, and she picked Tina Turner in order to go into battle with the aliens. But this time he's at least given us the opportunity for diplomacy. So,
yeah, we had a chance as few times. Yeah.
I think, to be honest, I think what we all want to see is like that moment in Mars Attacks where everyone's gathered for the aliens to come down, and they're going to like do this big offering of peace and shake their hands and the rest of it. They just come out and shoot everybody, which is just a brilliant bit in a film.
It's just fantastic,
I think,
isn't it? Yeah.
I think we all want to see that recreated, but with Mum stood there.
Kind
outrage,
of. As a species, we sort of deserve it, in general. So, if we're going to go out, at least it'd be spectacular.
There is that.
It would, but
Richard, we're going to let you go. Thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks,
it's lovely to see how well it's all going. Like I say, I remember seeing you ages ago back in Edinburgh doing that show, and you're flying, man. You're flying.
Well, I mean, thank you very much. It's just this has been an absolute delight. Thank you for having me. And
you're welcome.
Yeah, it's crazy when you look back over the years, isn't it, Jonny? Like, it's just funny old thing. You never know what's around the corner, do you? Hey?
Yeah, keep creating, I think, is the key.
Definitely. And to you too,
keep creating.
And you too as well. Because I was doing my Googling and I was researching the origin story of this podcast as well. Because I thought, just in case I get put on the spot, I need to know my facts. And I like it. I like how you've come together. It's a beautiful story of reunion and friendship.
Yeah. Mark's original text is still one of my favourite ever texts. So I left my coat at this show that I did, and I got this photo.
It was your dad's coat
draped over. Yeah, it was my dad's coat. I got this photo of the coat draped over a chair, and it just said, "If you ever want to see this coat again,
okay,
meet me at Tip Shelf Services with 6 cans of lemon Fanta and a Freddo."
And you thought,
and I was like,
I need to present a podcast with this guy.
What is going on here?
We should be working together. Yeah,
exactly that. So just be careful what you leave, man. When you're on your tour, be careful what you leave places. You never know what might happen.
Well, this is it.
This is where you end up.
But just look at us now. Yeah.
Look at us now.
Yeah.
Paying to be on a podcast.
They all said it wouldn't work. Yeah.
Fools.
Yeah.
Richard, we'll let you go and make some more amazing sketches.
Thank you.
Keep it up, and I'll try and get to one of the tour dates if I can. I'd really like to see the live version.
Please do. Well, yes. Well, I'll invite you both. Yeah, I'll send you some tickets. But thank you for having me. This has been loads of fun. Cheers,
no
guys.
Problem,
thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming on, and have a good week. We'll speak to you soon.
You too. Take it easy, guys. See you later.
Okay, man. See you later. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
How do I leave? Oh, there it is.
I just went through that bit where it's like, am I rude enough to just straight up kick him out? That doesn't seem fair. What a lovely guy.
I think that might be the clip, by the way. Just that very last bit, and then him going, "How do I leave?"
Yeah.
I think that would be a good clip. How much fun was that?
That was great fun. What a lovely, fun bloke. Yeah.
I like how we're getting really like different guests each week. You know, we're having like all sorts of different things that people do.
It is nice. I honestly, I knew very little about Richard before I basically met him there, and I researched him because I'm not one for social media, and if you're not into social media, TikTok's not really my vibe. But so I would have no reason. But as soon as I saw the thing and I did a bit of research, I was like, oh, I recognise it. I have seen that character somewhere. So yeah,
it's really worth watching if you haven't seen, because it's very, very funny, and he's just got the mum character down to such a T. And it's huge. Like, people absolutely love it, and
that's great.
He shouts at the kids that have obviously like. He's got some sort of vision in his head of who he's shouting at. He's got the husband character who's called David that he gets really cross with and stuff like that. Where are you next? I'm going away tomorrow for a good week and a bit. Going to the scorching place of Portugal.
Oh,
so
which bit?
Yeah, I'm going to be a little place called Sesimbra, which is like a little fishing town. Town, is that the right word for a fishing place?
It depends if it's a town or a village.
Or a city. What about you? I'm going to basically be holidaying. What are you going to be doing?
What am I going to be doing, Johnny? Wow.
Well, have you got any more shows?
No, I've got some family stuff that's going to take up quite a lot of my time this week, and it's important stuff I've got to deal with. So I've got to do that this week. So it doesn't really leave me much scope for doing much. I have been offered a show on Thursday, but I just don't know if I'm going to be able to have time to do monitors for in Spiral Carpets, actually. But
oh wow,
there's a show in Derby on. I think it's sold out though. But I think I've had to let Marty down because I don't think I can fit it in. Fit it in.
Well, let me know if you do manage to do it.
Honestly,
in Spirals,
I think that I need a break because I haven't had the day off in.
Well, I'm going to let you have a break because I'm going away.
Yeah. You can. Yeah. So next week we're getting another show you recorded without me.
Next week there is a podcast. I recorded it the day you were ill. We would have done it together. It would have been a me, you, WD41 and guests, but it ended up being just me and Deliso Shaponda, who is amazing. We were on Britain's Got Talent the same year, 2017. He's done so much stuff since then that we chatted about. Tune in next week to hear that. And also, as a little teaser, tune in to find out what Simon Cowell said to Deliso at a garden party. It's very funny. I'll save it until you hear the pod. But
I'm gutted I missed that. I bet it was really funny.
Well, you're going to hear it on the pod. It's fine.
I don't think it would have gone down well, me just a sweating mess trying to interview people with a robot. But so apologies to anyone who's been waiting for episodes on YouTube. I physically have not been here, or I've been so ill I've not been able to do it. So maybe I might be able to do like a retrospective upload of the audio podcast that Johnny's done, and just put like some backgrounds or some graphics on it to listen to on YouTube when I get a chance.
Might be cool.
But it's been very full on. I've got a little bit of time coming up in the next couple of weeks, hopefully, and I'll try and catch up with stuff like that. So if thank you for your patience. I appreciate it.
No problem. And like I said to you pre-show, you don't miss things, Mark, so you are allowed to have a day off when you feel like you're going to die.
Absolutely crumble. Just be physically capable.
Now, before we go, let's thank Richard Franks for coming on. Thank you, Richard.
Thanks, Richard.
Check out his comedy and go and see one of his live shows. We will be back with a proper pod. When I say proper, I just mean me and Mark together doing what we normally do. That will be in 2 weeks, but next week will be the Deliso pod, so there's no gap or anything like that, just Deliso, and then we'll be back. And I think that's about everything for now, so we're going to play out with the end tune. I can't hear the end tune now without laughing about what Mark has said about it last week. Mark, you need to listen to the podcast so you can hear it, but he basically said that it's too long, and
yeah. I mean, I never intended anyone to hear it more than once, really, because I thought it was that bad.
7 minutes. He said it was 7 minutes long, which obviously it isn't, but it was just a funny turn of phrase. But I love the outro tune, so put it on, Mark.
Let's go.
We'll see everybody in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I don't
pod.
even know how we're time traveling this one. We'll see when you see it. All right. 52 seconds, mate. That's how long it is.
Yeah, Marcus, it's not 7 minutes.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. I appreciate your time, I really need that. Join us again for the next episode. Might not be funny, but we'll give it a go. To hit the button and subscribe. We're just getting started, don't be shy. We'll be back soon with more to share. Join us for the ride if you dare. That's it for now, we'll see you soon for another episode coming to you. Thanks for tuning in, we really mean that. We'll be back next week, I think that's a wrap.
Look at it.